and welcome to DNBC TV, where we bring you interviews with business men and women from around the world. My name is Gloria Pollock, and today I'm going to interview Mr. Clint Arthur. He is the provocative, truth-telling author of 21 best-selling books, including Celebrity Entrepreneurship, Break Through Your Upper Limits on TV, and his nominated life's work masterpiece, Wisdom of the Man. As a speaker, Clint has shared the stage with Martha Stewart, Dr. Oz, Suzanne Somers, Caitlyn Jenner, Ice-T, and 5 presidents of the United States at Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford, London Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, Mercedes, Porsche, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, the Royal Society of Medicine, and AT&T. Hi, Clint. How are you?
Phenomenal, fantastic. I got this one client. His name is Fantastic Frank, and he has a traumatic brain injury. And he called me up one time and he said, "Hi, Clint. This is Fantastic Frank. How are you?" And I said, "I'm good, Frank." And he goes, "Good? You're not good. You're Clint Arthur. You're fantastic." So now I'm always fantastic.
Well, that's good. Good words. Powerful words. Good. Okay, well, going to the first question is, what services do you provide?
It depends who you are. I heard a very smart guy once say, he said, "Well, before I answer this question, tell me what you do so I can make my answer more relevant to you." But I do quite a bit of stuff. These days, I'm focused mostly on storytelling conferences, book writing conferences, and my training events where I teach people how to book themselves on TV. That's called Celebrity Launchpad. And also, I have another event called Impact, Influence, and Income. That's if you're an author, a speaker, a coach, an expert, consultant, advisor of any kind. I teach you how to do the things that celebrity entrepreneurs do to have more impact, influence, and income.
Okay, so that's a lot. You have a lot going on.
Yeah, and I also have this book. And, what do I really do? Most of the time, what I do is I'm promoting my book, Wisdom of the Men, which is nominated for the Pulitzer Prize.
Okay, congratulations. How many books do you have?
Wisdom of the Men is my 21st best selling book, and I've written way more than 21.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's excellent. And how hard is it to write a book?
I love writing books. Writing books is my favorite thing. It's funny, most of the books that I write are really easy and come out really fast. Wisdom of the Men, I always knew was going to be my big book. I knew that this was going to be the book that made me. And it took me 7 years to get up to the point where I felt like I could write the book. So I don't know if that means it was hard. When I actually started to write the book, it was pretty easy because I knew what I wanted to say. As long as you know what you want to say, then it's easy to write. But you got to know what you want to say, and you got to know, like, I had to have the whole idea. I was reformulating the idea for this book for a long time. I knew it was going to be about the smartest stuff that men had told me or taught me. But about 2 years ago, I really started focusing in on the concept of celebrity as it relates to associating with other celebrities to increase my own. And what I realized was if I only wrote stories about what I learned from the major international superstars, Mick Jagger, Mike Tyson, Dr. Oz, 5 presidents of the United States, if I only told those stories about what I learned from those superstars, that I could write a whole giant book about that. And that's when Wisdom of the Men really crystallized and it became super easy for me to write the book.
Okay. So who introduced you to this world, to this well, this dynamic that you have now, but especially writing books? Is it some like an idea that just came to you, or is there something behind it, or
When I was a kid in high school, my first opportunity to choose a class, my first elective, I picked creative writing with this guy named Frank McCourt, who lived in Brooklyn Heights, and he used to show up tired and wrinkled every day because it wasn't easy for him to be a high school writing teacher. And then he went on to win the Pulitzer Prize for his memoirs, Angela's Ashes, in 1997. And he really inspired all of us to want to be writers. But I had been writing books. I wrote a book, and it was published by Penguin USA in 1995. It sold 90,000 copies. It was their big book of the summer. But that was the same year that I started driving a taxi. And I drove a taxi in Los Angeles for 6 years. For the last 6 years of my 13-year odyssey of chasing the Hollywood dream, trying to become a screenwriter, a book writer, a movie star, a filmmaker, I became the Wharton Business School taxi driver behind the wheel of yellow cab number 6087 as I pursued all of that, inspired by my creative writing teacher, Frank McCourt.
hey, wow. And if someone wants to, because there's people that say you gotta do what you gotta do, what you want to do, but be focused and just do one thing at a time. So that's not how I think. If I like something, I'm gonna go through it, right? And I see that you do that too. Like if you like it, you go for it, and you have different paths. So what's your advice for that person, people that wants to do that, like wants to multitask?
Well, I think that it's essential for anybody who wants to position themselves as an expert in anything that you must write a book about whatever your topic is. If you want to be an expert in basket weaving, you got to have a book about basket weaving. There's no two ways about it, because if you don't have a book, you're really not serious about that subject, about being a real expert in that subject. Any expert has a book. So I know that's not a big consolation for a lot of people who don't think that they're a writer, but hopefully this will help. The way I write my books these days, really fast and easy. I pull out my phone, I open up my voice memo app, I dictate the chapter into the voice memo, I upload it to my Zoom, which transcribes it for me automatically because I have a high level Zoom. And then I have some VA clean up the transcripts and make it so that they're paragraphs of sentences instead of just fragments the way they are. That's how I write my books these days. I just talk them. So if you're an expert and you really know what you're doing, make a list of the topics that you want to do and just talk through your topics one chapter at a time.
Oh wow, well that sounds easy. I mean, I guess what's the difference between that, or how comfortable do you feel between that one? Well, I mean the recent one and the first book that you wrote. Like how hard was it, and what was the struggle before? Now you say it's so simple, but what was the struggle before?
Well, honestly, the first book I wrote was the one I sold to Penguin USA. And the way I did that one was my friend had this thing that he wanted to teach me, and I just asked him about it. And essentially, he just talked and I typed it up. And that became the book that sold to Penguin USA and sold 90,000 copies. But so it was kind of easy and kind of the same, except for a long time, I didn't talk the books. But once I became a speaker because I wanted to sell more books. I wanted people, my first, look, I quit writing for many, many years. After having the big book of the summer for Penguin USA, and then that put me behind the wheel of a taxi for 6 years, on New Year's Eve of the millennium, I was driving a taxi. And that's the night I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep throwing away my whole life while all my fraternity brothers are becoming millionaires, and three of them are actual billionaires on Wall Street and with hedge funds around the world. I can't keep, I deserve more. And I quit writing for many, many years. And when I started up writing again, even then, I didn't realize this whole thing about transcribing the audios. It makes it so much easier. But I started writing again, and I wanted to sell more books, and that's what led me to becoming a speaker. And now that I've become so successful as a speaker, I've made millions of dollars as a speaker through the course of selling books and coaching and consulting services as a speaker. One of my books was called Speaking Game. When I wrote a book about how to be a high paid 7-figure speaker, then I really focused on just speaking my books.
Hey, well, that makes sense. I mean, there these days a lot of people don't read, so it's like I just want to watch a video, or they're more visual, and that helps. That helps.
Love the audiobooks too. You know,
Yeah.
that's my final review of the book. Before I publish it, I create the audiobook because I love speaking and I love doing audio performance.
Hey.
The only paid gig I ever got as an actor in Hollywood was doing a little voiceover commercial.
Okay.
I'm pretty good with my voice, but people like listening to books too, and I like doing
Yes,
audiobooks.
like that. That's nice. And what is, I mean, just being curious, what's your daily routine since you wake up till you finish your day?
I don't really have a routine. That's one of the things. See, this is my coin, all right? This is my coin. And on here, let's see if we can see it. There we go. It says
Oh wow.
freedom, power, and adventure. I want the freedom to do whatever I want to do. I want the power to make it happen, and I want adventure in my life every day. That's my guiding 3 words of my life. And part of my freedom and power is that I don't set an alarm. I wake up and I do whatever I need to do that day. Sometimes it's writing books, sometimes it's doing interviews, sometimes it's renovating houses, sometimes it's teaching seminars, sometimes it's traveling. It all depends.
Oh nice. So you're living your life. Living your life. That's nice.
I'm so
And
blessed. If you had told me 20 years ago I was a taxi driver, if you had told me that I would be living the life that I live now, and I was a taxi driver then, I would have been like, thank God I made it, thank God.
right. It's nice because sometimes I feel that way. Like why we can't feel that freedom. Like you have to go to work from 8 to 5, and like why there's like sometimes we just need to see someone that is doing it so we can go through it because we're too scared to do that. We're too scared. And like your words right now inspire me, and I'm pretty sure that it's gonna inspire everybody because who doesn't want to be free? Who wants to go to work from 8 to 5? It's
Well,
nice.
look, the key thing is that you gotta understand how to make money on the back of your book. You gotta have a book, and then you gotta learn how to make money not from selling books, but because you have a book. Like I tell a lot of my TV clients who come to my TV training program, I say, look, you're not gonna make a lot of money by going on TV, but you're gonna make a lot of money because you go on TV.
Yes.
That's all part of it. Everything is about marketing. And the better you are at your marketing, the more money you're going to make ultimately when you're selling your coaching and consulting. And that's where the money is.
So is that now getting into your topics? Is that how the celebrities become famous?
Well,
The marketing around them, or is it what?
I don't know how to become famous.
Mhm.
Okay. The closest I could see is that you become somehow the star of a movie or the star of a TV show, and then the movie studio or the TV network puts you on a lot of media to make you more famous. But even that isn't going to necessarily make you famous. Fame is like lightning in a bottle. I don't know how to do that. But what I do know how to do is I know how to get on TV news and talk shows. That I have a mathematical formula for how to do that. I do know how to position you in the eyes of customers and prospects as if you are a celebrity. Like, for example, do you know Tony Robbins?
Sorry, I don't.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Most of the people in my world know who Tony Robbins is. In fact, when I got an email from Tony Robbins' team, it said, hey, Clint, if you donate $25,000 to Tony's favorite charity, you can be the host of his 60th birthday party at the Microsoft Theater in Hollywood. And Dr. Oz was the MC for that event. And it took me exactly 1 minute to donate the $25,000. Here's me and Tony at that party. And I said to Tony, Tony, what's the most important thing you ever learned? This is the question that I ask all of the superstars in my book. And he said, life is happening for us. See, I drove a taxi, and believe me, it wasn't fun and I didn't enjoy it, but it happened for me. I had to learn the lessons of all of this. I had to spend 13 years failing. I was the biggest loser in Hollywood for 13 years,
Mhm.
but I had to do that in order to learn the big lessons.
Of course. Good. Okay. Um, so talking about your business and everything that you have been doing, what you built, what's how rentable is your business? Like, don't you don't have to tell me like an quantity or amount, but in words, how do you put your business?
How rentable is my business? Like, am I renting my business to someone else? Is that what you're
Um,
talking about?
like
I
what's
don't.
the value of your business? How valuable is your business?
Well, I mean, if you look up my net worth, okay, what is my business? My business is Clint Arthur. That's my business, okay? And how valuable is that? If you look up my net worth, the estimates online seem pretty close to me, although I don't know how they come up with this stuff, but it's pretty accurate. I'm in the Clint Arthur business, and my business is my brand. Now, I know that there are some celebrities who sold their name and they had to buy it back or they couldn't use it. And I haven't done that. I guess you could. I guess you could buy my name, but I'm really not famous. I'm only famous to my customers and prospects. My clients think I'm somebody special and they're excited to pay me a lot of money. But the general public doesn't know who I am. Just like Tony Robbins. See, Tony Robbins is so famous. There were 5,000 people at his birthday party. And by the end of the night, we had donated more than $17 million to charity. But yet you have no idea who he is. That's what I call celebrity entrepreneurship.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Yes, I got you. I know what you're saying. Um, okay, so who are your clients? Oh,
My clients are authors, speakers, coaches, consultants, advisors, entrepreneurs, anybody who is an expert or ostensibly, if you sell what you do or know, then you're my client. Anybody who the people think that they're buying your service, but what they're really buying is you.
let me think about it. They're really fine. Can you like?
Okay, I'll explain it to you.
Thank you.
One of my mentors explained it like this, and I like this. He goes, I knew I had a problem. My wife broke her wrist, and I knew what my problem was. I needed an operation on my wife's wrist. Affluent people generally know what their problem is and what they need. What I did not know was who was going to get paid a lot of money to do the operation. See? It, it wasn't the operation that he was buying. He was buying someone,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
okay?
Okay.
If you're a somebody
Uh-huh.
and people are buying you, then you need me to help you to be a bigger who in the
Uh-huh.
eyes of your customers and prospects, because that's really all that matters. People say, oh, I'm the best car salesman in the world. I'm the best surgeon in the world. You could be the best brain surgeon in the world, but if nobody knows who you are, you're not going to save anybody's life because they're going to go pick somebody else who's famous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. Wow. You were talking about mentors. I'm curious about this. How do you get a mentor? Like,
The smartest, fastest, easiest way to get mentors is pay people. Pay
Okay.
them to be your mentor. Join their coaching program, join their mastermind, pay money to go to their speech or to attend their conference. That's how you become somebody's mentee. That's how you learn from people. Alternatively, you can read the book or you can listen to the audio recording, but there's a different energy that you get in the room when you're live with a person than when you're just listening to a recording. First of all, a recording has so much less information. For example, even the most advanced televisions today are only 8K.
Mhm.
Compare 8K to infinity, right? When I'm in the room with you, you have all of my energy, but when you're watching me on an 8K TV, you only get 8K of my energy. So that's why you really want to be in person with the mentor.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. Do you do coachings or, well, with this COVID, um, did the market change? Did your business change, or it was the same?
I did 24 live events last year,
Mhm.
all over the country, all over Europe. Generally, the events are smaller, so it hasn't really impacted me that much because all my events are really expensive. Like I'm a high ticket coach. All of my clients pay me 5,000, 10,000, 25,000. I'm used to working with smaller groups.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that makes sense. And when you start, well, like when you had your first book, when you were like doing all this planning and thinking about what were you going to write about, did you have someone helping you, like a mentor or like someone like guiding you?
Kind of, kind of. I wrote about this in my book in a chapter called Benjamin Franklin. See, all the people in my book are famous people that I've met, except for one, and that was Benjamin Franklin, because he died 250 years ago.
Yeah.
But he created the University of Pennsylvania,
Uh,
which is the university in which the Wharton Business School is one of the colleges. So the mentor who guided me through writing my first book was Benjamin Franklin, because my first book that was, not the one that I sold to Penguin USA. My first book as an author, speaker, coach, expert in this incantation of my life
mhm.
was called What They Teach You
Mm.
at the Wharton Business School.
Oh,
Benjamin Franklin was my mentor.
hey, wow, wow. Okay, and for someone that is starting their own business or whatever, I mean, it doesn't have to be a business, but I see it as a business too. If I want to do my own brand, make my own brand, like what's the best advice that you have?
You gotta have your own brand. If you're not doing your own personal brand, then you're missing a huge chunk of what's available to you as cheap or free marketing. Just think about how different Apple Computer and iPhones would be today without Steve Jobs propelling all of it with his own personal brand of being Steve. So you got to do it. And the the best advice I can give you is check out my book on celebrity entrepreneurship. That's the real thing. That's what real celebrity entrepreneurs do, all of them. All celebrity entrepreneurs are doing what's in celebrity entrepreneurship. Check out that book. And then if you want to go beyond that, read Wisdom of the Men because there's a lot more of that in there too.
Okay, so all the topics that you have in your books are related.
No, I mean, I have so many different books. I have books. I have a children's book. I have a book on how to double your income. I have a book on how to make money on Kickstarter. I have a book on what they teach you at the Wharton Business School. I have a book. I have a cookbook, and I have the income doubler, and I have celebrity entrepreneurship. I have my book on how to get on TV that's called Breakthrough Your Upper Limits on TV. And I've got Wisdom of the Men, which is basically the sum total of my whole life. And my life is about becoming somebody. My whole life has been devoted to wanting to be somebody. See, when I was growing up, my parents were always arguing. Did your parents argue when you were growing up, Gloria? Okay, well, with us, it was like, when weren't they arguing?
Yes,
And when I
exactly.
when I graduated from the Wharton, I wanted to go to Wharton Business School because I thought that if I could become somebody special, somebody, right? If I could become somebody, then maybe my parents would stop arguing so much, because I thought it was my fault, and it kind of was. So I graduate from the Wharton Business School and I go home to get the congratulations from my parents, and instead of hugs and kisses, what happens? They break out into the biggest argument of all time. And my dad storms out of the house and slams the door behind him. And I'm sitting on the couch with my mom in the living room. And I turn to her and I go, "You know, Mom, the way he resents you all these years, have you been cheating on Dad?" And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, where did that idea come from? I never thought that idea in my whole life before. And then I'm thinking, what kind of a rude kid asks his own mom a question like that? That's the rudest thing I've ever said to anyone. And then I'm thinking, how come she ain't answering the question? And
You
then she
did.
goes, "He's not your real father. Your real father was a doctor at the fertility clinic we went to for 6 years trying to have you, and you look just like that guy."
Wow, that changed your mentality.
I've been trying to become somebody special for a long time. And when I wrote my book, Wisdom of the Men, that's really all about, how do you become somebody special?
Oh, wow. That's deep. Wow.
Well, I always knew it was going to be my big book, and it's nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. I hope it's deep enough to win that prize. And I gave it everything I could. You know, when I finished writing it, I wrote it in 2 weeks in Venice, Italy. I went to Venice, Italy. I stayed at the best hotel in Venice, Italy. And I got up every day and talked into this phone for hours at a time until I had all of the 91,000 words of the book. And when it was all over, I said to myself, wow, is that it? That's all I got? Well, it's all in there. You know, I said to my, just the same way, like when I wrote What They Teach You at the Wharton Business School, the only reason I had enough confidence to try to promote it and to go on TV, to hire a publicist, to invest my time and energy trying to promote that book, is because it was about what they taught me at the best business school in the world. The first year, only 8 people bought copies of that book. And I had to make up my mind, I'm not going to let it die. And because I invested time and money, it became a best-selling book. Now, with this book, you know, I wanted to have a book where I put everything in it. So you say it's deep. Thank you. It is as deep as I could possibly go.
Wow. And what motivates you, like every day, to go and like do your best?
Nobody's paying my bills.
Well, that's
But
the first motivation.
right?
Yes.
But beyond that, I mean, look, I don't do what I do necessarily for a paycheck. I do what I do because I hold myself to high standards, and I expect myself to keep those standards. Nobody told me to put on a jacket and a tie, but because this is a TV show, I wanted to look the way you're supposed to look on TV. You know, I know what you're supposed to do, and I'm a grown-up man. I'm 56 years old, and I know pretty much what's expected in the world from a person, from a writer, from a storyteller. I've learned a lot of stuff. I try to share it as much as I can, certainly in my books, but also in everything that I do.
Thanks. I don't want to go that far, but do you have family? Because there's people that are trying, to do it and follow their passion, pursue their dreams, and they're like, "Oh no, well, I have family, I don't have time," and
Yeah.
excuses.
Well, I have a 26-year-old daughter, and she's all grown up and on her own. I'm married to my wife. We've been together for more than 21 years. It's basically me and my wife and my dog. And I will say this about friends and family. Your friends and family don't want you to succeed. Your friends and family just want you to keep paying the bills and keep everything the way it is. They don't want you to break through. They don't want you to fulfill your dreams. If you fulfill your dreams, you might leave them behind and decide they're not good looking enough, or they're not smart enough, or they're not friendly enough, or whatever you may decide, it may not include them. So that's why they don't want you to succeed. If you're going to succeed, it's going to be despite, in spite of, your family and friends, and you got to make time to do it. Look, I am a motivated person and I have what's called initiative. If you're going to make it as an entrepreneur, certainly if you're going to make it as an author, a speaker, a coach, a personal brand, if you're going to have any kind of personal brand, you need to have initiative, because nobody is going to make you famous. Nobody's going to write the book for you. Nobody, unless you pay somebody a lot of money. People pay me to write their books, but if you're going to make it and have a personal brand and become somebody, you need to become somebody by yourself, because nobody is going to do it for you.
Yes, that's true. And did you see like this, I don't know if it's vibration or energy, with COVID, did you see the difference in people? Like, did they look the same for you as a speaker, or yeah, as a speaker, did you see the difference in your
This is a
clients?
great point. This is a really great point. Okay. The people that show up are special people. Showing up is everything. I mean, when I when I was a taxi driver, I found out about a party that one of the rich guys was throwing to raise money for the fraternity. It was going to be at the Four Seasons restaurant on Park Avenue in New York City. Big money.
Okay.
And my dad said, "Are you going to go?" And I said, "Dad, I can't go to that party. I'm a taxi driver. Everybody there is millionaires. I can't go to that." He goes, "I'll give you an airplane ticket. I'll pay for a hotel." I said, "Dad, I can't go to that." 9 years later, I had become somebody. And the rich guy who was throwing the party threw another one at the Four Seasons restaurant on Park Avenue. I'm telling you, there was over 300 fraternity brothers there, maybe about 50 of their wives. The bar tab alone at that party had to have been $150,000 just for the drinks. And there was lollipop lamb chops and crab cakes and scallops and all kinds of stuff floating around on waiters with tuxedos and silver trays. This was a big money event, and we raised like $500,000 to help renovate the house. But when I showed up there, I had to get screened by the Secret Service. And I'm like, I saw one of my fraternity brothers. I'm like, "What's up with all this security?" He goes, "Biden is going to be the speaker." Joe Biden was the vice president of the United States at the time, and his son, Beau Biden, the one who died of brain cancer, was one of my fraternity brothers, 3 years younger than me. And Beau Biden died, and Joe was there to raise money for the foundation, the Beau Biden Foundation. And the big lesson, of course, I went up. I was the only one to get the selfie with Joe Biden after he spoke, and he was a great speaker at that time. And a lot of people, I got 5 presidents in the United States in my book. Biden is only one of them. And people object because, I don't like this one's politics. I don't like that one's politics. I got Republicans and Democrats. I got everything in my book. It's not about the politics. It's about what are the lessons that you learn from these super successful people. If a guy, even a guy, I'm not a Joe Biden fan, but even a guy like Joe Biden, I could learn something from, because when I went to that party the next time, when Joe Biden was the speaker, what did I learn? I learned that I showed up. I learned why I didn't show up the first time and why I could show up the second time. When people aren't showing up, it's not because they don't like you, it's because they don't like themselves. That's why they don't show up. That's why they don't call you. That's why you don't hear from them. They disappear because they don't feel good about themselves. Now, you asked me about COVID. Is the energy different during COVID? Yeah, the energy is different. You walk through the airport, there's nobody there. I've been traveling all over the world the last 2 years. It's been the easiest time in the world to travel because there's nobody traveling except for me and my wife. Nobody's showing up. Why? Because they don't like themselves. They're playing small. They're afraid. They are not making money. They're staying home from work. They're drinking too much. They're smoking pot. They're doing all kinds of stuff that they don't feel good about, and that's why nobody's showing up anymore. And this is a huge problem for the world, but this is what they are trying to do. They are trying to get people to stop showing up. And that's why I say, if you can hear my voice, please, the next time you don't feel like going, go.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go because Woody Allen, another picture you'll see me and Woody Allen in the book. Woody Allen says 80% of success is just showing up. And every time you don't show up, you automatically fail.
Yes.
So do yourself a favor and show up.
Mhm. Wow. This is amazing. Thank you so much because it's like it's different phrases that you say that like wakes you up. It's it's amazing. And then your energy is like wow, you just mix all that knowledge and energy. It's just powerful, powerful. Thank you
Thank
so much. And well, that was the last question. Do you have something else that you want to share with us?
You can get the book Wisdom of the Men on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and type in Clint Arthur. Clint like Clint Eastwood, Arthur like the king. And then if you put in Wisdom of the Men, it'll go right to it. Otherwise, you got to search through all my books. It's really great on Audible. If you enjoyed my voice and my storytelling at all, I narrate the book on Audible. I don't know about you, but I got a lot of Audible credits that keep stacking up. So crack off one of those Audible credits and get Wisdom of the Men. You'll really enjoy it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Clint, and I hope you have a wonderful day.